Hi guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up your own AI agent that will be able to retrieve any information from your emails, draft an email, but also send an email directly to any recipients and all of that from WhatsApp. So if you're interested, make sure to watch this video. I'm David, the founder of runautopilot.co, and we build cool automations for cool people using no-code tool, and we help them run their business on autopilot. So let's jump into today's demo. So this is my WhatsApp channel that I'm having with myself. So I'm actually having an AI agent on the other side. So I'm going to make a request and see how he operates. So can you please find Joe's email in the database and send him an email to tell him that I will be happy to join him for the networking event tomorrow night? Going to wait for the answer. So just to give you a bit more details about it, I have connected an Airtable database right here. And so what we can see is I have a Joe in my database with this email, which is actually my email. So the first thing that this assistant needs to do is to retrieve Joe's email based on the audio that I just did. Then it's to forward the email to the AI agent that will create the draft, send it back to me for approval before it gets sent. So now I can see that I receive right now the draft email. So I definitely have the recipient, the subject, the body. I hope this message finds you well. I would be happy to join you for the networking event tonight. Looking forward to it. Best regard. And then he signed. So now I can literally confirm. So I'm just going to say, I confirm. So I can make, okay, I confirm. And now that I've sent this command, I should now receive the confirmation message that said that the email has been sent. And I will be able to check in my inbox if the email has actually been sent. So let's just wait a couple of seconds. And now we can see that the email has been successfully sent to myself, regarding the networking event tonight. So this is just the recap of what has been done. And if I check my inbox right now, if I refresh, I can see that the email is right here. So it did arrive, so which is great. Now let's take another case. I can write a text this time. So I did an audio the first time, but right now I could literally just write as well a message. What is Blake's last email? So now I'm just hoping that it will be able to retrieve Blake's last email. And then that will allow me as well to respond to this email right now, because I might have received this email earlier. So I just had a look of it, but I didn't take the time to respond. I was too busy, or I was doing something. So with this command, he should be able to find Blake's last email. And then that will allow me to respond right now live. So let's just give him one more time, few seconds to find the last email. The difference that we have when we send the audio or the text message is the audio actually needs to be turned into a text before be sent to the AI assistant. However, the text technically is more straightforward method because there's no conversion that needs to be made. It's directly sent to the AI agent. So is he able to retrieve this email? Let's check it out. So right now I just received the response, and it took actually a bit longer because it was not looking for Blake likes email in the right place. It was looking for it in the database. So obviously we would not find it. So I can just readapt my request and say, check Blake last email in my inbox, and I can just put Gmail account. I can just say retrieved. Maybe retrieve is going to be better. So let's send him this comment right now, and hopefully this one will be much easier for him to understand. because I have connected basically the Airtable database to this particular agent and the Gmail. And so sometimes it just needs more precision to know exactly where to find what, because just before we asked for the email, so obviously he went in the database and he kept the same reasoning for this task. So right now we can see that as soon as I have reformulated my request, he has been able to find Blake's last email about affiliate program. Would you be interested in joining an affiliate program? And right now I can say, write an answer. Write a response saying that I would be happy to participate. So now I can literally one more time send him a comment so to respond to this email. So once again, what it's going to do now is writing the draft. Once the draft has been written, it's going to send it back to me in order to confirm before he's able to send the email. And I'm going to show you later on how is it possible, because all the sub-agent, I have one AI assistant that is the agent that I'm talking to right now, but this agent has also sub-agent that is delegating the task to. And with the system that I've set up, they all run autopilot. So there's no actual approval set up in the Relevance AI. However, he is forced to always ask me for confirmation before sending the email, because I set up a double confirmation step within the flow that I will show you afterwards. So now I can see that the response to the email is here. Thank you for reaching out. I'll be happy to participate in the affiliate program. So that looks great. Okay, I confirm. And now I can validate this comment again, and the email will be sent directly in my email, in my inbox. And I should also one more time receive the confirmation that the email has been sent. So let's just wait a few seconds so I have the confirmation to making sure that everything went as expected. And then let's break down this entire process. So here we go. So here we have it. So the email has been successfully sent to this email address, and the draft email is good. Here we have the recap of the email, confirmation of sending, sent successfully. This is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And now I should be able to see the email that is right here in my inbox, affiliate program. So everything went as expected. Now let's go and break down a little bit this entire process so you as well will be able to set up your own AI assistant and send him command from WhatsApp. So for today's video, let's talk a little bit about the tech stack that we will need in order to set this up. So first thing, in this case, I have set up an Airtable. You do not have to. The Airtable was just an extra just to show you what we can do with it. I might not cover the Airtable part right now. There's already a video dedicated to it. So you can refer to this video and that's it. Right now, I'm just going to focus mostly on the Gmail part. And I will provide you enough details to as well set up the same system. We are going to use Relevance AI for the agent and sub-agent. We will use make.com mostly for the trigger. WhatsApp, obviously, because everything is running from WhatsApp. And I have this extra tool, which is Mate API, which is a third-party tool that allow me to connect WhatsApp with make.com. And basically, I use Mate API because this part that I'm showing you right now is part of a bigger project. I already had access to Mate API, so that just made everything easier for me to use it, because I could literally use the same phone number. I didn't have to create the official WhatsApp authentication key, and it was just simpler. In your case, you can always replace my API by the official WhatsApp API, because right now you just need to send text messages and audio and voice note, which are available in the official WhatsApp API. Then we obviously need a Gmail account because this is how it's linked now. And you will be able as well to do it with Outlook. This is the exact same flow. You will just have to replace Gmail by Outlook if you actually have all your inbox in Outlook. Anyway, with that being said, let's cover now a little bit about the overview. What is the flow exactly? So here's the flow. First of all, we have the trigger. So the trigger is coming from WhatsApp. That's what we have. So I make a request from WhatsApp. This request is sent to my AI assistant, and my AI assistant will then delegate this task to the right subagent. So in this case, either the email researcher or the email sender. So for the first task that I showed you before, when I had to send an email to Joe, the task was immediately delegated to email sender because the email sender has the responsibility to create draft and send emails. The email researcher has the responsibility to find information in emails. And so the second task has been performed by the email researcher because he had to retrieve Blake's last email. But then when I asked him to write a draft and send the email, this part was done by the email sender. As you can see, there's a little green check on the email senders because I force him to get back to me and get an approval before completing the task. And the task right now is about sending the email to a recipient. That's the task that I want him to confirm with me before he does anything else, right? So with that being said, I want to show you a little bit what happened in the back office of the flow. So right now, I'm going to go back to the first request that I made right here. So for example, can you please find your email in the database and send him an email to tell him that I would be happy to join him for the networking event tonight. So here we can see the first thing that happened after this request is contacting the Airtable manager, because in this case, I didn't have the email. And if I mention someone's name in the task, this is what he has to do is to look for this guy's details in order to retrieve the email. So here we can see retrieve. That was the command that needed to be performed. So you have everything in the Airtable video if you want to know more about it. Then you have find Joe's email in the database, and he did execute this task properly because he retrieved the email. After that, he delegated the task to the email sender. So now we can see that he passed him the email that he retrieved before. We can see that the status here is draft, which means that he will not be allowed to send the email. And then he provided as well the content that would need to be written. And this guy here had to craft it and forward it back to the AI assistant. And then the AI assistant messaged me through WhatsApp to provide the detail that I asked him to do, which is provide me the recipient, the subject, the body, and make sure that I confirm this draft before you can proceed to sending this email, right? So this is what has been done. Now for the second part, I confirm. So this is what happened here. And if you look at the request for the email sender, now you have confirmed. If you remember, just before, we had draft. And by default, we keep the draft value. However, when I confirm, this is the moment where he can switch draft by confirm. And the fact that he has confirmed, he has access now to the API that will allow him to send this email. And I will show you this in a minute. So just after that, he also had to report back to me one more time. So here, this is the report I asked him to do to tell me exactly what happened. So this is what he did. And then we had the second task. So first, what is Blake's last email? And we can see the first thing that he did in the task is delegate it to the Airtable manager. And that's the reason why it took so long and he could not find it, is because he was the wrong subagent. And in this case, we can see that retrieve Blake's email, but there's no Blake in the database, so it cannot find it. However, this is good because this agent will be set up to always keep me informed about what's going on. So if a task is performed and he cannot find the expected output, he has to report back anyway to explain to me that he could not find it. And this is what he did. And that allowed us to rephrase the request that he has been able to perform just after. So retrieve Blake's last email in my inbox. So now I had to mention the inbox word. And that was the keyword that triggered him, because now he knew that it was in the Gmail that he would be able to find this particular email. And that's what he did. And he definitely found Blake's last email right here. Retrieve back the answer. And now we just had to tell him to write a response. And now he sent it back to the email sender with the instruction to write this email. How, as we can see one more time, it was in a draft status. So it was literally impossible for him to send this email. And once he sent it back to me for approval and I confirm, here I can see that the status went to confirm. And that's how he has been able to send it. So this is basically what happened in the back office. Now let's have a look at the tool that we built. So first of all, we can have a look at the get email. So the get email is the tool that we have provided to the email researcher. So how did I build this tool? So first of all, we have inputs. We have the request, so the task that needs to be done. We have the email type. So is it an unread email or already open email? So we can choose either, or we can say only unread. And if it's only unread, that means that it will only search through the last email that I received and that I didn't open. Then we have the sender. So in this case, that could be, for example, because I just want to retrieve the email from one specific sender. So I write to him the email that he needs to use. It will use this email in the sender filter in order to get exactly the last email from this person. I have also an input about the number of emails to retrieve. For example, I asked the last email sent by Blake. I could have also asked for the last 5 emails sent by Blake and select the one that I wanted. That was also possible because here we have an input that allows him to retrieve up to 20 emails. So he has to provide a number between 1 and 20 only if I have mentioned specifically a number. If not, this is always 1 by default. Then we have the keywords. The keywords is a word that he needs to extract from the task that will allow him to perform the research. And as you saw in the request that I made, I didn't provide Blake's email. I just say Blake. And basically, he used Blake as a filter in order to retrieve the email that had this keyword. So this is all the input that we have. And then we have here the get email from Gmail. So this is a function, an API that is already integrated within Relevance AI. So I just had to install the module and I just have to connect my account. All right. I just have to mention here the number of email per page that I need to retrieve. So here you can see I just put the number, which is this input. By default is 1. And once I've done this, then I just need to open the settings. And this is where I'm going to complete the entire request by adding the different variables that I have and the different inputs. So for example, here I can filter based on who sent the email. So this is where I added the sender directly here. Then I can filter by keywords. And this is where I added the keywords input that I have here. Then I want to filter by read or unread emails. And this is where I added as well the variables that I have about the inbox. So you are able here to add as well your own filters. So for example, if you often look for emails based on a certain date, then you can add an input about a date. And here you would just map it out with the input directly in the right input field, right? So this is how it works. Then we have another module, which is the recap email that will allow us using the LLM module in Relevance AI to, based on the request and the body response that we had from the email that have been retrieved, to reformat the answer in order to provide a short, concise, and clear answer that addresses the request directly. And also I added, make sure to include the sender's email and email subject when necessary. So that will always help me to make sure he understood the task that was assigned to him and making sure that he always has the right email. So in case I can see the email is wrong, I will be able to tell him, look again for the right email. And that's the answer that we get. So this answer will be sent back to the AI assistant, right? And then from there, we will be able to perform another task. So now that we have covered the get email tool, let's have a look at the other tool that we used, which is the send email. So for the send email, we have one more time different inputs. So we have the recipients, who should we send this email to? We have the Gmail thread ID. So in case we need to respond to an email that's been sent to us. We have the subject line. We have the email body, the request. One more time, the request is super important. We have the status. So the status is what I talked to you about, which is an input that I've added in order to have this double confirmation system, making sure that you cannot send anything without my approval. Yeah, that's what happened when you're a control freak. You just want to make sure that everything that you send is right. So this is how you do it. You just add the status here. And basically, there's two possible value. One is draft by default, or the other one is confirmed. By default, is always draft until I confirm. And we can also add secondary recipients if we want to put someone in copy of these emails. So you can see right now that when the status is draft, we have access to this module. And this module is about creating an email draft. So literally, because the status is always draft, the only thing that it can do in this tool is creating an email draft and send it back to me. However, when I send the confirmation, draft becomes confirmed. And in this case, he has access to this tool, which is the Send Gmail API already integrated in Relevance AI. And in this case, he will be able to send the email to the recipients, add someone in copy if we have provided an additional recipient, and the subject, add the body, and then the comment is done. Then the email will be sent. So as you can see, this is the little trick. You create the status and then you add a condition to be able to use the API only when the condition is met. So now that we covered the tool, let's see each agent responsible for those tools. So let's start with the email researcher. There we go. Here we are, email researcher. So how did we build this email researcher sub-agent? So first of all, we gave him a name, email researcher, gets email, info, and details of Iris email box. Core instruction. So first of all, we give him a role and context. So you are email researcher, expert, email manager for Masanga. So Masanga is the name of the personal assistant that I have. And you act on the behalf of Iris, which is the client for whom I built this as well. Retrieve the information and emails from Iris inbox, right? So that's the context that we gave him. Then the objective is break down the instructions step by step, identify and use the appropriate tools. So he has one tool, actually two tools, because we also allow him to get the current time, which is very important. Provide the clear summary. That's part of the task that he has to do. And communicate everything in French in a concise, professional manner. So right now, everything is in English because I changed it and adapted it for this demo. Then we added the SOP, so the standard operating procedure. And first thing he has to do is determine the task requirement, use the appropriate tool. Number 2, gather and summarize emails. And then every time we just break down everything that is expected within this subtask. So if you need the current date or context, use the retrieve current date tool. For inbox searches, use the inbox retrieval function. So every time we just explain what he has access to, and we break down every step that we put in order to make sure he understands everything. And last but not least, to report back to Masanga and deliver a concise and French written summary, and to highlight any points that would be relevant. Then we have a part with the tools. So we explain one more time the tools that he has access to, and the manager agent protocol, which is what he has to always do. So always provide a feedback of your process, adapt quickly if you have new instruction, and maintain transparency about the tool that you've used. So this is very important. So that allows me as well to know exactly what's happening. And then we have the additional notes, mandatory rules, just in order to make sure it's following the orders, the language, the clarity, professional tone, the follow-up, transparency, etc. So this is what we have right now for this guy. Then we have a flow builder. So in the flow builder, we have an instruction which is use the time zone tool to get the current time and date, and use the get email to get the data from the email, right? And then return what you have to the AI assistant. The tools. So we have the get email. So you can see auto run. Everything is on auto run. This guy has actually the, just noticed that he has the send email tool, but that's a mistake because he should not have it. And then we have the time zone tool. So the time zone tool is, I can cover this quickly, but there's not much in this tool. To be honest, this is something that you can already have access to in Relevance AI. But basically, it's just a tool that gives you the current time. And in my case, there's no input. I just put the time zone that we operate in. Because this business is local, there is no even question to be asked because all the client, the customer, they're all in the same area, in the same country, even in the same region. So that's not an issue. But this is what the tool allow us to do, which is just provide the current time. So when you run it, the only thing that you have now is the current time, the date and the current time. So this is simple. And we have also a template where here we just make sure that the entire request has been forwarded to this agent, because sometimes what the AI assistant was doing is shorten the request. And I don't want that, because sometimes there's specific details that I put in the request that the agent will be able to use in order to get the right email. But if the AI assistant shorten this request, then he cannot use it. And therefore, I won't have the right result. So this is why I had it here as a variable. Now, let's check the other sub-agent that we have. So the other sub-agent is the email sender right here. So this guy is an email sender, send and draft email inside Iris email box. Core instruction, role and context. So this is the same thing. We just explained who he is. So email sender, expert in email manager for Masanga, acting on the behalf of Iris. Your primary responsibilities are drafting new emails, sending emails, and report. That's all you have to do. The objective is to break down the instruction, identify and use the appropriate tools. So we kept the same thing that we had before. And then we readapt the SOP, which is draft email, submit your draft for approval, send emails, and then report to the AI assistant. Then we provide the tool as well and the manager agent protocol. So always give a step-by-step account of the action. So the same thing that we just had before that we just covered, and the additional notes is the same thing. So draft, the only thing we added here is draft only until confirmation. So never send an email if this variable is not confirmed. And we will see right now what variable I'm talking about. And we also tell him to act as Iris, so act as the client. So when you respond like if you were the client, otherwise he's going to use the third person to write the email, which is not what we want. In the flow builder, we have the different instructions. So first, use the time zone to get the current time and date, and use send email to write a draft email. Always return your draft email to Masanga for validation to the AI assistant. If you have a confirmation, then change the status of this variable to confirm, and then you should send the email and report back what you have done. In the configure template right here, we have the status. And this is where we explain as well that this is by default draft, and only if you received a confirmation of the draft, status becomes confirmed. So we left it here, and list is the variable that has been mentioned in the core instruction in the flow builder. So this is this variable. By default, always draft unless you have a confirmation. And then if you remember well, we use it in a condition in the tool. So we exactly know that if he didn't get it right, there is not a single chance for him to use the API tool and send an email to the wrong recipient, for example. In terms of tool, we gave him the ability to send an email. So everything is on auto run. Time zone is also on auto run. So here we could have as well put the approval required, but that would force me to kind of jump in. I didn't want that. I want to know what's happening, but I don't want to jump in. I just want him to get back to me. And if I say, yes, you just do it. I don't want to have anything else to do. And that's the reason why I leave everything on auto run and use WhatsApp as my validation system. Then that's it. There's no sub-agent. That's all the tool that we gave him access to. And then we have the personal assistant. So this guy, he has a lot on his plate, right? He has a lot of instruction because he's used for more than just this task. I'm just breaking down this because it's part of a video series when I'm explaining a little bit the project, and now we see different modules that have been set up. But basically, he has a lot to do. The first thing that we did for this guy in terms of instruction is explain his role. So he's a personal assistant. Then who is Iris, the guy that he's working for. So we give him a bit of context so he understands. Then we provide him with some tools. So the WhatsApp communication tool. We give him access to the email researcher sub-agent that we just saw, the email sender sub-agent that we just saw. Then we explain to him the SOP, so task reception, receive request, analyze its content, clarify when necessary. Then the sub-agent responsibilities, explaining one more time what each agent is for. Then delegation to sub-agent, so use the appropriate tool. Step 4 delegation, identify the task, select the relevant sub-agent, provide a clear structure instruction, validate tool output, maintain communication. So those are the big elements. And then we just add few lines to explain every time what we mean by that. The communication of result, review and validate, report to Iris is very important, and always use the send WhatsApp message tool. Handling misinformation, key point to remember. So here are the non-negotiable. This is what we need to make sure that he understands. So we just repeat it one more time. And now, because he has a lot to do, I just want to make sure that every time he receives a request, he knows what he has to do. In this case, I'm breaking down all the type of requests and how to handle them. So, for example, here, this is all the requests for the Airtable manager. So we're not really interested in this for now. And here we can see that this is actually the breakdown of the task send or create a draft email. So one of the tasks that he will be asked to perform is send or create a draft email, right? So the first thing he has to do, delegate to the email sender. That's the right sub-agent for this task. Provide him with the relevant info. If no email is provided, but you have a contact name, look for the contact email in the database using Airtable, the Airtable manager. So this is where you can also add your own sub-agent. If you need to look for this piece of info somewhere, you can mention it at this exact moment. Then is ask the email sender to write an email. Then you can provide the language and make sure to provide them the email address of the recipient as well. Submit the draft to Iris for approval. Label it as draft here. And then we explain what happened if there's no email. So make sure to always mention the email address. If no email is provided, make sure to find the recipient's email using the Airtable manager. And then always send the draft email to Iris using the WhatsApp tool for confirmation. So we just literally break down what we want him to do to reinforce the fact that we want to approve before an email gets sent. If you have multiple drafts to submit, then send them individually. So breaking down the task. And then if you receive an approval, then change the variable status to confirm. So this AI assistant is the one that can change from draft to confirm. And once the status has been changed, then it can delegate this task again to the email sender that this time will be able to perform the task. And if you receive a revision request, then we have to go back to step 1, which is rewrite an entire draft, submit it as well for confirmation, and wait to get approved or not. Then we have the second task, which is retrieve information from an email. So in this case, you delegate the task to the email researcher. You await for the email researcher response, and you submit the response via WhatsApp to me based on the findings of the research. And then we have the task 3, which is respond to an email. So this assistant will have to delegate the task to the email researcher, see if he can find the email. If he can find the email, then he can ask him to write an answer. And then, based on the output that he's going to get, he has to submit it through WhatsApp to the client so the client can approve. However, if you didn't find the email, you need to ask for more explanations about what you are looking for. And basically, that's what he did as well. We saw that he didn't find Blake Lack's email. So he came back to me to ask me, okay, what should I do? Because I didn't find it in the database. And so basically, this is what's written here, right? And then we also have the condition, what happened if I approved the request. So then you change the status to confirm. If it's declined, then you have to go back to step 1 and write another email that you will submit one more time for validation. So this is it for the core instruction. For the flow builder, we have now, because this agent has different tasks to do, we created different conditions. So here, based on the request you receive, identify the right agent to delegate the task to. So here, for example, we have a task that is, if you receive a request about writing or sending an email, then delegate the task to the email sender, and then send all the draft to us via WhatsApp. So then we provide some details. If it's approved, then you delegate the task to the email sender that will send the email. You wait for the confirmation, you report back. If you didn't receive a confirmation, in this case, you delegate the task to the email sender and change the variable status to draft, because he has to go back to the kitchen and cook me something else, right? That's what needs to happen. However, we have also another condition, which is if you receive a request about retrieving an email, retrieving information about an email, then you delegate the task to the email researcher and you send the response to Iris using WhatsApp and the WhatsApp tool. And that will lead me to show you the tools that we have. So we have the send WhatsApp message and the time zone. So it's very important to always be aware of about the current time zone. The send WhatsApp message tool is a very simple tool as well. So let me show you how it has been built. So basically, we have 3 inputs. One is a message. What do we want to send? The phone number we want to send it to, and the group if we want to send this message in a group. All of this is based on Mate API documentation. So I'm not really going to cover the Mate API documentation, but basically this is the input that I'm allowed to provide in order to send this message. So that's the input that I'm allowed to provide in order to send the message. And then I have 2 API calls. One API call if the group is not empty, which means that here I have the input that will allow me to send this message to a group. When I say input, this is the group ID. And I have the same API call underneath, but this time, this is if the phone is not empty. In this case, I will have the phone number to send this message to. And the main difference between those two is the fact that here in the body, here I can send it to a number, but the variable is rated to a group, where here the variable is rated to a phone number. So I have to divide them in order to have one tool dedicated to the group and the other one dedicated to the channel, right? And then this is literally just an API code that's been set up. So I have all those elements from the URL that I can retrieve from Mate API. I set up the key here in my environment variable. And then I just make the API call basically based on the conditions. So this is just what the send WhatsApp message tool looks like. So it's pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. So that's the tool that this guy has been equipped with. And he has sub-agents. So obviously he has a lot more than just the 2 sub-agents that I showed you before, but we definitely provide him with like the email researcher. So we give him a little explanation about how he should use this agent. Here we put all the variables that will be needed for this agent to perform his task. So if you remember well, this is the variable that we have in the tool. So the sender, for example, so we explain who's the sender. So here's a brief about who's the sender with different conditions. Here we have the request. So we tell him to provide exactly the request that he received from the client. So use only read when retrieving unread emails and use either when retrieving specific emails. So here we will have to mention basically if we just want to focus on unread emails, or if either will be fine. Then we have the number of email to retrieve. So by default, the answer is 1. If mentioned differently, then you can use a different number. Then we have the keywords, and then we explain that if there is no senders, and the senders has to be an email. So here it's written, if neither valid email address or valid domain is provided, leave the variable empty. And the keyword is check for exact email domain first. If there is nothing that mention an exact domain or email, in this case, look for relevant keywords that will allow you to perform the research. So this is what we have here for the email researcher. For the email sender, we also have an explanation about how to use this agent. And then we have the breakdown of each variable. So the status, very important, default status draft. And when you have the confirmation, then you can change the status to confirm. If you have a doubt, if nothing is clear enough, you leave it to draft. So sometimes I can, if I just say validation, there's no clear enough, it will not send the email because it will still tell me, oh, the email is in draft mode. Can you please confirm that it has to be sent? And in this case, I will have to say, okay, a proper okay or a proper I confirm in order for him to change the status. Then we have the recipient, who we're going to send this email to, the Gmail thread ID. So if it's a reply to an existing email, then extract the Gmail thread ID from it. Then we have the subject line. We have the email body, the request as well. So this is the entire request that needs to be done, and the list of emails that we need to put in copy in case you want to send it to multiple recipients. So that's how we set this up. And in the advanced setting, in the configure template, we have the full request here that we're saving, and that's it. Then we have the language here that we can update, the WhatsApp number that we can update as well. And that's how we need to set this up. So I believe that now you should be good to go and able to yourself as well set up your own AI assistant to help you with your email and everything that's related to your Gmail or your inbox. But just before finishing this video with few more details, I just want to show you quickly the trigger. So then you have a full understanding about what's going on as well on this part. So for the trigger, we have here a webhook related to Mate API, which is the tool that we use. So we are able to know when a WhatsApp message is sent. Here we have the different variables. So the agent ID, the conversation ID, in order to always respond to the same conversation. If you set up the confirmation system that I show you, but you do not put the same conversation ID, your confirmation will land to a new conversation. And nothing's going to happen because basically you will lost track about the history of what you said before. So it's very important to keep the conversation ID. Then I have a router. If it's a text message, then there's just a filter here that filter the message type text, and they go straight to this one. So I set up the Relevance API key. I used the API to trigger the agent. So how do I do that? So when you go to your agent profile, here you have an API, so you can trigger this agent using this API. URL is here. You generate your key. You set it up directly in make.com. Here I put back the URL. I just wrote the URL here. Method is post. The body type is raw. And here you have the content that you need to put in your request and replace the variable by what you need, which is element from the webhook. And here is the agent ID that's saved in this variable and the conversation ID. The only difference that with the voice note or the file, if for some reason you just recorded a file and you do not have it as a voice note, the only difference here is I have a filter to filter the files and the other one to filter the voice notes. And I download the media. That's the next step. So you have to download it, submit it to ChatGPT in order to transcribe it into text, and then make the same API call. You just change the variable here from text and not from the input that we have here. So just from the OpenAI module, and you are good to go. So hopefully this is clear enough. So now let's talk about the budget. How much does it cost to set up something like this? So this is what we are going to see right now. So In my case, right now, I had the Airtable, so I use the free plan of Airtable for that. You have Relevance AI that has also a free plan. So if you do not have too many tasks, maybe the free plan would be enough for you. Make.com has also a free plan that you can use if you do not have more than 2 scenarios, I believe. WhatsApp for free. Mate API is a paid tool that I'm using. It's part of this project. So for me, it was easier to use this one. An alternative is using the WhatsApp API key. So the official one that you can create in the Facebook Manager tool and connect it in your Make.com. So instead of having the API call that I had in my trigger, you will have this WhatsApp module to send a message. And you will also connect your Gmail. So Gmail is for free. So basically, if you do it well, you can actually have this automation for free, which is quite good, actually. If you receive like few emails, that can still like help you whenever you are on appointment, you're outside, you don't want to write emails, but you know what? You can do it now, just sending audios and getting the email and approve the email that will be sent on your behalf. So honestly, this is kind of a pain release to know that it's easy to build a system like this. Regarding the takeaways, so as you can see, this system is not too complex. It's really simple to set up. The little thing that makes the difference is the fact that I can approve every email using WhatsApp. So this is really what makes it a no-brainer tool and makes it super cool, because sometimes just leaving the AI agent sending emails, you can always have some agent that go freestyle, and we want to avoid that. So this is really the key part, I would say, of this system, is being able to always see what's happening. I would also say that you can use the same system using Slack instead of WhatsApp, using Telegram instead of WhatsApp. All of this is possible as well. So your creativity is the only limit. And last but not least, you can, if you want to, add a knowledge base to this entire flow and provide, for example, the last 100 emails that you have written in order for this agent to write exactly like you. So this is also something super powerful, is being able to write in your style. So just by creating a knowledge base and giving access to, it will be able to write like you. And last tip, if you want, I can show you as well my screen one more time for this tip. You can, if you want to, add another trigger. So let me show you this. Add a Gmail module here, a webhook, in order to filter the email that could trigger your agent. So if you, for example, have a manager that's writing to you and you want to make sure you do not miss his email, or you have a client that needs to particular attention, or you're waiting for a response for a deal, whatever that is, you can set up this as a trigger using the email of the sender. And every time you receive an email, then you can have your AI agent that just let you know through WhatsApp, hey, you just received this email from this person. This is what he says. This is the response that I've already drafted. Please confirm, and I can send it to them. And you can literally build this as well. So that's an extra tip if you want to complement the current flow that I just show you. So hopefully that will be helpful. If you have any question, drop them in the comment. If you want to see a specific automation, drop it in the comment. If you're not subscribed yet, come on, just subscribe. Let's do it. And for anything else, feel free to get in touch, and I see you in the next video.